workplace wellness slogan, leveraging synergistic mindfulness solutions for optimized employee fulfillment.
That slogan and really your entire presentation sounds AI generated.
Thank you.
That wasn't a compliment, but all right, Amber, what do you have? Do you have your proposal ready to go?
I forgot mine at home. So I drew this graph.
That's a stick figure.
I also have a colored version that emphasizes our growth this quarter. I found a blue marker in my desk. Hello.
Hello. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Sanity Penning Podcast. I'm Holly, and this is Amber. And Amber, we're talking about AI again this week.
We are.
But specifically, we're talking about AI slop. We're referring to these like overly processed images you might see, or those really weird, like lifeless posts sometimes that you see on LinkedIn or Reddit. I've seen them on Reddit too. So I think when I started looking into like AI slop and sort of like, when did this all really start? Because it seems like it just kind of like out of nowhere hit everybody. But I think it's been happening for quite some time. I think the scary part for me is not that people are using AI, Amber, but it's like that they are like, they've stopped trying to think for themselves, right? Like they're just trying to mass produce as much content as possible. So there's like, it's all low effort stuff, right? Like they've given up the creative part of it in favor of like speed running content as quickly as they can. But I don't know what your thoughts are on this, or like, I'm kind of curious too, if you've seen what your experience is with seeing AI slop in a work setting too.
I think that, well, first, I just have to say the word slop makes me think of like lunch lady, like, I just like there is a like a flop sound that like goes along with like a it just is like you said, like this mush and so I feel like when I think of AI slop, I think more images than words. And I don't know why. And I think it's because of the all this like the absolute craziness of AI generation, where they will add extra fingers or there'll be like extra body parts that get added like in the background. So to me also, when I think of AI slop, the recollection that comes to mind are images more than words, because there are some people who, when their AI slop is being passed as their work, they didn't actually improve upon, like they're still using their way of writing. And sometimes it's hard to tell the difference because maybe they're not a good writer and their AI slop did not actually make them any better.
Yes. Like they're not using it to like support it. They're using it instead of, right? So like instead of thinking it's
it didn't make, exactly. But it didn't make them sound any better. Than, because if they don't understand to begin with.
Exactly. Like you're passing off like you're an expert in something that like you didn't know anything about that to begin with.
In real life, it's when people are using really big words when they could have used the simpler language.
Well, plain language, which is what we were kind of taught to do, like in our previous roles, like, right? Like when you're dealing with the public, you always speak like, or you try to always use plain language. But yeah, these other people who want to sound like professors or like something like that, I'm like, what the heck? Like, one, I don't know what you're talking about. But two, it sounds like you don't know what you're talking about because like, how can I evaluate this?
I don't even know what that word means. And so I mean, again, I got accused of that a lot, but I feel like that's a human slop, right? Like that is an example of not AI slop. Maybe if you don't use those words, right? But it's also human slop. There's
definitely human slop.
I am educated, and I got accused of that all the time because I like efficiency. So if there is a word that I knew in my lexicon that could address what that, I would use it and be like, oh, shoot, plain language. Because then I would be like, huh? what does that word even mean? And I'm like, I'm so sorry, right? Like I know the meaning of that word. I was not using it to impress. I was using it out of efficiency, but I can absolutely understand how I came across as,
you
you know
never
all
gave
of
me
these
that.
big words.
No, I never got that impression from you, but there were some people that we did work with who it did feel like that was like you said, it was to impress, right? To show off or something. And sorry, that kind of stuff just I don't impress over that stuff. It doesn't win me over at all. And it's so funny because you were talking about like how like the images thing and how AI gets it wrong, right? With like too many fingers or whatever. And my very first time seeing somebody use AI at work, I remember this was early on too, when AI was first being introduced. Somebody sent me a video and asked me if I would review it. There was some educational content in there, and it was all about like, they're like, hey, we want to make sure that this is in line with policy and stuff like that. Since I was sort of the SME for what was being covered in there. And I remember opening up the video and being so startled by this AI generated woman that was there. I didn't comprehend anything it was saying because I was just so like terrified by this woman that it had created. Amber, it was like the face was perfectly symmetrical, which is like, you don't see that in nature. Like, so it looked like alien almost. And then the more I watch it, I'm like, it's not blinking. It's not doing like the fidgety things that humans do. So it was like weirdly like static. I'm like, I'm freaked out. I did not like it. And I'm like, the purpose of this was to educate people who are receiving this video. No, I got no education. Like this is not serving its purpose. It's too freaky. Like why couldn't we just record somebody doing it? I was startled and I did not like it at all. I know it's gotten a lot better since then. Actually, there's quite a bit of stuff out there that I'm like, man, that could have fooled me if I didn't know these certain things to look for, But I totally considered that slap because I was like, that is lazy. It's creepy. No, like you should not have done this. I'm offended.
Yeah. I fell for it hard. So like with those those fan made movie trailers that they make.
Oh, yeah, I've seen some stuff for Game of Thrones. I've seen one recently that totally had me fooled.
I was fooled by a Zelda live action where they cast Tom Holland as Link, and I was like, and it looked so good. And then I shared it with Joe, and I was like, oh my god, look, and he's like, Amber, that's not real. And I was like, what? And I felt so duped, and I fell for it. Like from what I understand, they are making a live action Zelda film.
Oh, are they?
And this was a fan made version that like who they would have cast in these like particular roles. And so I fell for it. But like I think they're still in casting. I don't know where they're at now.
Yeah, this is important information.
I'm so upset. To look up. I'm so upset that I like fell for it that I kind of am like, yeah, whenever. I'm just gonna wait for the movie to come out because I felt so duped, and I was like, I got tricked.
Yeah, I've definitely been tricked before. I'm not going to say that I've never been tricked. But it's usually those things that I'm like, okay, now I know to look for this thing, this clue, whatever it might be. And I know for some people, like using AI in general, they consider anything that AI is used to create or support or anything as slop. And I don't think there's anything wrong with using AI. But I do think that it's, ideally it would be used as a support tool, not as the only way to produce whatever it is, like images, articles, videos, whatever it is, because I think you can tell when there was no thought put into something. Like I still remember whenever I did, I was young too, and I went to the art museum. It was one of our field trips that we did. I still remember seeing some of the images, like the paintings there, and like all the texture on the paintings and things. Like it was just, it's one of those things. Like you need that. It like made me feel things, and I don't feel things when I see stuff that's AI generated. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't stir up emotions or anything. I don't think that you can replace that entirely. And I don't really care for people who are just like flooding the zone with all of this stuff either. It's that speed running, this mass produced content. I'm like, ugh, it's too much. Like all the brain rot out there. Ugh.
And I think I feel for you mentioned that we understand this is the world that we're in. So we need context clues. We need better understanding. We need to right. I worry about the people who don't know how to do that and would just pass on a movie trailer like Amber did and be like, I'm so excited. And then have other people come back and be like, nah, girl. And so now like that hurt me so bad that I just am like, I don't want to be embarrassed like that again. And so because it was so embarrassing
that's true,
because of the like I would like to believe that I could pick it out as the human. I would like to believe that. And now it is so advanced, getting so advanced. It really is much harder. And so now my feelings get hurt because I'm like, I can't tell.
Well, and that's understandable.
I would right? So the people who aren't aware of stuff and then just share it and pass it on. And I feel like that's taking advantage. And that's the point. Like I get it. But
yeah, and it can be dangerous too, Amber. Like I keep thinking about all of these like phony news articles and things like that get sent around, phony news like videos and stuff. And I just think of all the people who like were already like high emotions all the time, that it just takes one of those for somebody to have a really bad reaction and something really bad could happen. So yeah, I mean, I think it should be taken seriously. I don't think it's just all fun and games, all the stuff that people are doing. I think like some of it is like intentionally harmful, and we should be aware, and that should like end. Like that should not be the case. Yeah, I know what you mean. I know that feeling of like, oh God, I can't believe, because I have fallen for stuff that I'm like, oh, this thing. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm really worried about this thing that I read. And then I like talk about it and somebody's like, that's not true. And I'm like, I go in to read and I'm like, yeah, that was not true. Like, and I fell for it, you know?
When you mention generational stuff, I know that when I am speaking to older generations, they get stuck on the question of why. Why would somebody waste their time to do that? Why? And I'm like, that is not the question. It is there. You're never going to get to the core as to why somebody would intentionally put out something that is diverting or like we are beyond that. We did not, or we passed go. We did not collect our $200, right? You know, like nobody stopped to ask why we're doing this. So when I have interacted and I'm like, oh yeah, that's not real. That's not true. Right. And then they look at it and they're like, but it's a video. It's like, they can't get past why would somebody do that? So then it becomes easy to be believed, because why would somebody go through the effort of putting out something wrong? And I'm like, that is not a question that I can answer.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, and that's how people are with, like, many people are with, like, the news today. They hear something said on TV and they're immediately like, well, they wouldn't broadcast it if it wasn't true. Like, you know, and this comes with everything, right? That you need to, no matter if you're like seeing it, if you're like how you're consuming the information, there should always be a part of you that you're still like thinking through the information that you're receiving and processing it to say, okay, how does this check against like what I already know or other things that I've heard? How does it contradict with these other things? It's hard though. Like, so in AI Slop specifically, like there's such a rush to get as much out there as possible. So there's less people checking it and stuff like that. So it's easier for this stuff to spread at alarming rates. And so I completely get that. So Amber, I'm very curious, like from your perspective, like what screams AI generated or like what makes something human created for you? Like, so I want to play a game to like kind of test, like, are you able to like spot something and be like, oh, that's AI generated for sure? There are right or wrong answers, unfortunately. There is a right or wrong.
The pressure. Oh my God.
However, I will say I have gone through some of these quizzes already myself. I think you're going to be just fine. So Amber, we are starting with AI photos. And I want to know which one is a real photo and which one is the AI generated one. So the first one here, the category is wildlife and nature, poisonous frogs. Which one of these do you think is real and which one is AI?
I think that the AI is on the left and the real is on the right.
Okay, so this is the real one. Select the real image. Okay, make sure we're doing it right. You are correct. And it has an explanation here. It looks like complex patterns and like really simple round spots. Is that what stood out to you too?
Yes, it was the uniformity, meaning that what you just pointed out was that it was too perfect around. Like there were different sizes of the round, but but compared to the real version of like just the chaos of spots on the frog, that looked more natural to me as a real photo, and it looked Photoshop. Like the left one looked too perfect, too clean.
Yeah. I know. All right. Well, Amber, strong start here. Very strong start. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. What now? Here's where it gets like, okay, category is people, students doing art projects. This is where it get like tricky for some people. So what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
Okay. The right is AI generated and the left is real.
Okay, the right is AI generated. Okay, so the left is real. You are correct. So what stood out for you? We see here what they're talking about, but what about you?
The pink shirt arms. Yes, her arms. Her arms look like a mannequin. Like her left arm,
like this.
Like they're pointing out the hands, but like the they look like yes, she's in mid motion, but like there's like her left arm doesn't look right. Like it's not attached correctly, or it's not bending at the elbow enough.
It's unnatural for sure.
And like is unnatural.
Look at this kid here. Look at his hand here. Look what's going on here. It's like two hands in one. And we know hands are hard for AI. So yes, hands are a good one to look for when you're unsure. Look at the hands. It's very strange, but yeah.
Yes.
This is our last one for photos. We've got more here, but this is geography. And so I don't know if you've ever been to Hong Kong. So like this might be a little more challenging, especially like an area that you've never been to before. Like me looking at this, I'm like, well, I've never been to Hong Kong. So I wouldn't, there's certain things that wouldn't stand out, but what are your thoughts? Which one looks real and which one looks AI generated to you?
It looks real on the, oh my God.
It's hard, right?
This one's really hard because I don't know Hong Kong at all. Okay, so I'm just gonna go with the gut, right? Like I have to stop looking. Okay, so my gut says that the left is real and that the right is AI generated.
Okay, and you got it. Yes. And here, the things that they're talking about missing buildings. Again, we would not know this, and this is accurate. Mountains, again, we wouldn't know this. But like for you, is there something that stood out in this image here that you're like, oh, that looks phony?
Yeah, like so the buildings that are the closest to us on whatever like looks like a cliff, those look like they're not even buildings. They look like they're just shapes. And the detail of there being different sizes of buildings, right? You notice how they're like kind of just like a shadow over all of these buildings and just kind of like a general shape. I can't actually see, and it could be like this how far away I am from but it looks way too
copy paste or something like these two for sure.
Yes. And so the left, again, totally different shapes and sizes, and it just looked grainier, which to me also makes me think of a real photo versus, again, this super polished nightscape, right? If this is taken at the same time of day, the right looks like it comes from a video game and the left looks like it's real.
Yeah. Right? Oh, Amber, well done. Well done. Dang. All right. Well, I've got another challenge for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, this one is videos, and they're Thanksgiving videos, okay? So can you separate truth from the slop, it says. Test your skills below. Click on the video that you think is AI generated. So you let me know. Okay. And the turkey one, which one is AI generated, do you think? It's hard, right? These videos, they've gotten pretty good, Amber, pretty good.
Yeah. I'm going to say that the fake one is on the left and the real one's on the right.
All right. Nope. That's the real one, and this was the AI generated. Now, the only problem with this is it doesn't tell you like what was different. The giveaway was, right? So, we are meant to figure it out. But like, look at the three hands.
Got three hands. Oh, I just saw it. Just saw the three hands.
Momentarily, though, right? Like that's why it could be something incredibly subtle like that. So here, what about the onion one? What about the onion one here?
Gosh,
which one is AI generated?
Now I'm counting fingers and.
Right?
Like,
I know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I failed the videos. Obviously, it was a video that got me last time. No, I'm kidding. I mean, there's no failing. Okay. I'm gonna say that it is the AI videos on the left again and the real ones on the right.
All right, you got it. You got it. And so for me, I don't know if you could tell, he's just started cutting it up into these dices, but it wasn't pre-cut like this one was. You see, like, but it just like magically is dice.
That's why I was like, something is weird about that one.
Very weird. Actually, here, I'm going to make it a little bigger because that way we can see some more detail. What about this one? Because like, seriously, thoughts on this? I kind of want to hear your thought process on this. So I can see you. I can only hear you.
I think that the fake one's on the right and the real one's on the left. And it is because I don't know like how he caught that like football, threw it up, but then it looked like he still had the football.
It was still in his hands.
It was still in his hands. Like
it was.
Like there's just something so fake about the way that people are moving.
Yes. I know.
Like, and okay, so look when he falls, like in the dust cloud. Really, a dust cloud that kicked up behind.
It looks like he's like trying to do a half burpee, but somebody lands on top of him too. It's like, what are we even doing? Like, this is not how you play football. Like, and you see how he tossed the ball afterward? Like, once he got up, like, wait, are we playing football? What are we playing?
And look at the huddle. There starts out with 4 people in the huddle, and then there's 3.
Oh my God, over there. What the heck?
A missing person.
That totally got by me, Amber. That was a good catch.
4 people in the huddle. And then
that guy merged. 3. He merged into one. Oh, whoa, weird. That was freaky. Okay, all right, man, you're pretty good at the video ones, I gotta say. Okay, okay, so this one's a little different, Amber, but I wanted to test you on some writing samples to see if you could tell the difference between something that is written by a human and something that's written by AI. Now, this one, they're really like there's a right or wrong answer as far as like AI or not AI, but there's not a wrong answer. This is simply asking you which passage do you like better. So for you, as somebody who would be like listening or reading to something, which one of these do you like better? Passage 1 or passage 2? So passage 1 is just, it makes no difference what men think of war, said the judge. War endures. As well, ask men what they think of stone. War was always here. Before man was, war waited for him. The ultimate trade awaiting its ultimate practitioner. That is the way it was and will be. Versus passage 2. And these are not even about like the same thing, which kind of makes it a little more challenging too, because I guess it has to do with like your taste. So it's I'll be interested to hear which one you liked better. But passage 2, it says, the boy asked his grandfather why the old church had no roof. The old man said the weather and time and indifference. The boy asked if someone could fix it. The grandfather said yes, but no one would. Things were built and things fell down, and mostly people just stepped over the rubble on their way to somewhere else.
Okay, so my gut says that the left is AI and the right is real.
So were you coming at this not from a standpoint of like which one like sounds better to you? It's more of like, okay, which one is AI? Knowing that one of these is AI. Is that how you're approaching this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But otherwise, they'd pass. They'd pass. Both of them would pass for me. But because I know we're playing this game and I know that one of them and I have to pick
AI.
Is AI, I am definitely coming at it from that perspective. And
does this one also read better to you? Like, do you think this sounds better? As far as like English goes.
I do.
Okay. Right,
as far as English goes,
yes.
Passage 1 sounds, which makes me think that it is AI because it, again, like those pictures, it's too smooth. It's like too, And the right side is a little choppy.
Okay, so we're going to go, this one reads better. And you're right. This one was written by a human. So it's from Blood Meridian. Yes, and this one was written by AI over here. Okay. So, yeah.
Dang it. No, I missed it.
You said passage 1.
I said passage 1 was AI.
Oh, I thought you said passage 1 was, I thought you said on the left was human.
No, on the left was AI and on the right was human because I assumed that the human would have the choppier writing, like, because like we still are learning grammar, we still are, right? Like, and so I assumed that because of the choppiness, right? Like it felt more human to have more abrupt stopping and right? It was
Yeah.
the left side sounded great, which is why it sounded better, which is why I went with it as AI. Like it
Yeah.
smooths things over, right? So
Okay.
so yeah, oh gosh, this one's
Writing
hard.
is hard. Writing is hard. Here, what about
Woo!
this fantasy one? So we've got some different
Okay.
genres here.
Okay.
This one's
Oh,
fantasy.
okay. Okay.
So this time, like, pick the one that you think
Okay.
sounds best to you. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
passage one, the healers teach that every remedy extracts its costs. A fever brought down will rise again somewhere. A wound closed by magic leaves its scar on the world, invisible but present. This is why the wise hesitate, not from cruelty, but from understanding that interference ripples outward in ways we cannot trace. To cure a blight, make curse a harvest 3 valleys over. Power is not the difficult thing. Restraint is the difficult thing. Man, to curse a valley 3. Man, okay, sorry. I feel like I've absolutely read something that said something like that. Sorry, not to like give anything away, but that sounds like exactly something I remember reading before. Okay, passage 2 though. You must not change one thing, one pebble, one grain of sand, until you know what good and evil will follow on that act. The world is in balance, in equilibrium. A wizard's power of changing and of summoning can shake the balance of the world. It is dangerous, that power. It must follow knowledge and serve need. To light a candle is to cast a shadow. Ooh.
I think I liked the story better. And so to me, like the story in passage 2 makes me like passage 2 better in
I
terms
like passage 2 better
of the writing.
too.
I like
Yes.
passage 2 better.
All right. So passage 2 is actually human.
Okay.
So not only did we like it better, but it was written by human. This first one over here, this was written by AI. And that's so funny because I swear there's a piece in here that, oh my God, I swear, may curse a harvest 3 valleys over. Maybe that's from like a movie or something. It sounds so familiar to me. But look, 51% of readers chose this option. So we're in the majority as far as people who like the way this sounds better.
Yeah. Well, and I'm getting them right now that I changed, like, which one do I like versus trying to figure out which one's AI. So that's also an interesting shift too, is how I'm listening.
It's so hard because, like I said, right or wrong, there really isn't a wrong one in this one. It's really just which one sounds better. And I think this just goes to show how far AI has come to like communicate something that resonates with us in some way. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's, this was, what did you think of this? Like the real or fake game?
It was fun. I was nervous though. Like I was so nervous. Having the experience of being duped before made me super nervous, but I found it really, so images, still very, very easy.
Me too.
Writing, seems to be something that AI can do a much better job mimicking us rather than recreating images and videos. So from a visual perspective, it still maybe has a lot of work visually, but with words, I feel like it's a strong contender. So using it for and I know that there's a whole lot of like other ways that people, like I have heard that people know that it's AI slop, and it's like the use of M dashes is the biggest one that I'm aware of, is that most people don't know how to use M dashes correctly, and AI does. So it like overuses M dashes. And so for those who did use M dashes in their writing, they feel attacked because they're like, I use M dashes. I've
sort of stopped doing it because AI was doing it. Yeah, now I just do commas and maybe I have like run-on sentences and stuff, but I'm like, I just do extra commas. You get 5 commas in a sentence now.
Right. Instead of, and I am not somebody who used M dashes. I abuse and overuse ellipses. So you know that it is me when I'm like dot 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 6 ellipsis, right? Like ellipses squared. And so like do I overuse them. And so, but I never use M dashes. I use a hyphen. Right? Like when it's appropriate, but that's really the only time that you're going to see a short line in mine.
Yeah. And I rarely do the hyphen thing, even for words that require a hyphen, because I kind of want to like say like, I kind of want my writing to have some imperfections. So writing anyway, right? I want my writing to have some imperfections. So, it came from me. So sometimes I do intentionally leave out things like a hyphen, or like maybe with like quotes and stuff, I'll do the single quote instead of the double. Like, cause again, that's like a human thing. Like AI would know to do a double quote if they're quoting something. Like, I don't know. I do some things, but it's sometimes intentional on my part, because I want people to know, like, this was me, this is in my voice or something. Not that that's right or wrong necessarily. It's just like a thing I've picked up doing since AI has sort of been out there, you know?
And interesting, related to the question that I asked earlier as to where we think that AI may be training us. And it may be training us to be dumber and to not use English correctly because
do different things. Yeah, like that.
To do different things to stand out.
Our habits. Yeah.
We're changing our habits. And so where I would hope that we're changing our habits to be more critical thinking, not validated by any data source, by the way, that's just optimism, pure unadulterated optimism.
Amber's take.
Yes, this is Amber's take, right? And whereas something like this in our writing, we're adjusting to be more human and showing that we have mistake. Like, what is that? Like, we're doing that intentionally. So instead of intentionally being a good writer, we're intentionally leaning into our bad habits and bad things because it makes us look human.
Well, and I will say too, for anybody that might be watching that's like, oh, Holly turns in sloppy work. No, I like in my like professional things that I was turning in, like when I was writing policies or whatever, I would do whatever. But like, you know, things that you and I write for various like things on social media or whatever, like, you know what I mean? I do sometimes like it is an intentional thing for me sometimes because I want people to see imperfections and like get the hint that this is me, this is a person, this is a human doing these things. Very interesting. So I'm curious then, Amber, like, because this is, we haven't, for another week, we don't have a story here that's sort of like anchoring the topic. This is, we've played some games though, but I'm curious for like a coaching perspective, like what would you like how would you approach something like this if you had a coaching client?
Yeah. So what well, one, I would be super curious what somebody was struggling with, right? You know, to bring the coaching with AI. And
or just
so
AI
that would
slop
be
in general,
like
right?
just
Like,
AI
is it
slop.
competing with slop? Is it like, you know, overcoming it or like whatever it might be? Yeah.
Yeah. So at least in terms of how I understand it in our conversation, it is not really, and especially with the game teaching us, you know, the things that we've learned, that AI slop, it isn't really about AI. Maybe. Right? Like, I don't actually think that it's about, I don't think it's about AI. I think that it is about our relationship with friction. And we've somehow, in a like funny way to say it, I think that we've always had an aversion to friction, but now we're kind of like forming an allergy against it. And I say that in that way, like an allergy, because what do we do when we're suffering from allergies? We take medication for it. And I think AI is the medication to this. So putting that into context as to this AI slop isn't really about AI, and it's about our relationship to the friction that AI is now generating and what we do with it. Then I might ask something around, when was the last time that you did something hard? And then when you can recall that, when did it feel like a problem to work around versus work through?
Yeah, that's so like, because I think a natural inclination a lot of us have is to look for shortcuts. To, you know, how can I either postpone going through this, postpone doing this task, this chore, this whatever, or not do it at all, get around doing it, finding that shortcut. Yeah, that's telling about like humans, like people in general, you know?
Right. Because the most human thing about us, separate from AI, are our feelings.
Yeah.
It's our emotions.
Yeah.
It's the fact that we can feel. And so we spend so much time trying to numb our feelings or try to avoid
scrolling and just all this stuff, right? Like we're looking, the term brain rot, why? How did it come to be? It's because people were looking for that thing of just like, I don't want to have to think. I don't want to have to like do this thing, feel this way, you know, an escape of sorts. So, yeah.
So if you're looking to be more human than AI, then it's to flex your feeling muscle and flex it in a way of when something is hard, sit with the difficulty and work through it. Don't use AI to work around it. Because then you're not learning and you're not teaching yourself, and you're just using medicine to numb. I feel like this whole conversation is about diversion and the ways that we distract and divert from what's really there. And that is, if you have never been coached before, just putting in a plug, that's what coaching kind of brings you back to, is we do sit with the things that are a little more difficult, but we sit in that safe space and we get to how you really feel about things, which is why some of these questions, they may be general at first, but they are really pointing to something specific that's happening with you. And coaching questions are really customized to the individual that's sitting across the table from me or across the video screen from me. And so, so if coaching is something that you're interested in, check it out. Find somebody who's like offering, there's so many different coaches, and this is not sports coaching. This is, there's all different kinds of coaching. There's executive coaching, right? Like there's so many different categories and themes of the types of coaching. And so I mentioned executive coaching because, workplace environments, there's a lot of executive coaches that are used and hint or spoiler, not hint, but a spoiler alert there, right? Most of the coaching things that come up, they're not really the work issue. They're personal stuff. It's how you are, right? Like, and so it's very, very human to address something from that feeling emotional perspective than it is from the actual, kind of event. But anyway, so, we are Sanity Pending Podcast, and we are in some places that you can find us. So we are offering a place called The Break Room that you can find us after our episodes on Wednesdays. And The Break Room is on our subreddit, Sanity Pending Podcast. We are also on Instagram. The obvious one is YouTube, which is where you're most likely finding us. And coming soon, we have another site that I'm excited to release soon, of where we are also spreading our wings and trying to spread the good word around of our podcast. So we really enjoy this. We hope that you're enjoying this. Give us a like, give us some love, give us some engagement, comment, share with all your peoples, bring us into your work setting and be like, yo, drop little hints to your fellow coworkers and be like, I think that you might stand to listen to this one. I'm not saying anything, but just drop it and walk away. Be awkward. Yeah. If you've not punched someone in the throat this week, but you thought about it, didn't do it, but you thought about it, it's a good week.
Good week. Yeah.